2013. I would now like to turn the conference over to John Becky. Please go ahead.
Thanks so much, and welcome everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, depending on the time zone you're in. My name is John Becky, Vice President of Product Strategy for the ATP Group at Blue Coat. I'm joined today by Ajay Ugadada, who's Director of Product and Technical Marketing for the ATP Group. Really happy you guys are with us today. We've got a pretty information-packed webcast for you. We're going to spend the first portion going through the landscape, the solution, our advanced threat protection platform, and tell you all about how we can help, how we are revolutionizing the protection against advanced threats by combining a three-tiered approach that I'll go through. That will then be followed by a live demo and demonstration of the Solera Advanced Threat Protection and Big Data Security Analytics platform. And at the end, depending on how much time we have, we'll try to take as many questions as possible. So again, remember, you can enter questions anytime, and please do so, but just use the kind of question and answer portion of your interface, and we will work very hard to summarize the questions and answers at the end of the session. So thanks again. So let's get started. For those of you who might not know, Solera is now a Blue Coat company after the acquisition of Solera Networks by Blue Coat. What we're going to talk about today is really what that means, how we are combining with Blue Coat its technology portfolio, its franchise, its network effect, everything with it to deliver really comprehensive security analytics and advanced threat protection. And all of this really is about delivering security technologies and really bleeding-edge technology that will help empower the business, secure your business, so you can leverage these technologies better and more safely. So that's really what we're going to talk about today. Let's just talk and summarize the threat landscape. We have multiple threat actors. You know this. You've seen this and read about it, whether it's cybercriminals, hacktivist groups like Anonymous, LultSec, or some of the emerging hacktivist groups we're seeing in the Middle East and elsewhere, or nation states that are really supported by, actual states that have state-sponsored spies. These are the actors combined with insider threats. We've seen a lot of that with the NSA leak story that's really been a headline across the world. Insider threats is certainly a big piece of that as well. And these actors are leveraging techniques, tactics, threats, very targeted in nature, some advanced, some not necessarily so advanced, but very targeted. Zero-day threats, advanced persistent threats, and they're using that to meet their objectives of data theft, perhaps it's ransom and fraud, or a DDoS that a hacktivist might use to deface a website. But these are the threats that are a big problem today. Many of these, again, are novel in nature. They're zero-day, and they're presenting a host of issues to existing security technologies that we have deployed. And as you can see, we've got a lot of them deployed. I refer to this as our picket fence. And in many cases, these technologies can be a fortress against a lot of the attacks that all of you are facing, but in many senses, they're more of a picket fence than a fortress, because a lot of these modern, advanced, and very highly targeted zero-day threats and attacks are really slicing through our defenses pretty easily, and they fly under the radar of these technologies and tools. So although we need all of these tools, we need them very much. The preventative tools are going to deal with a very high percentage, maybe 95, 98% of the attacks that they're seeing, they will help stop. But there is a gap, and this is the problem we are trying to solve now with advanced threat protection solutions. This now is a gap that requires a new approach. It requires a move from prevention to more preparedness. It's where we're going to derive context and visibility and detection and advanced threat protection. And so that's really what we're focusing on today, is that gap, how we can fill it. And if we can now combine technologies that can fill that gap with existing technologies you already have deployed, that's really how we will continue to have the integrity of your systems and offer the high availability and confidentiality of all the data you have. So that's really what we're trying to do. This, there's a lot of data we can look at, and we've done our own studies with Ponemon research that kind of derive at the same statistics, but this is the latest Verizon data breach report. And I think this tells the story pretty clearly here. The dichotomy that exists with the threat landscape I've just gone through. The 84% on the left is talking about the percentage of advanced targeted attacks that compromise their victims within seconds, minutes, or hours. So you're seeing an incredibly high number of these attacks that are very successful in a very, very short amount of time. So literally within minutes to hours, these attacks and the attackers that are launching them are penetrating their victims very, very quickly and successfully. On the other hand, we're not seeing these threats in our environment for a very long time. So on the other side, 78% of those attacks are not identified and discovered until weeks, months, or even years. And in many cases, it's definitely more of multiple months to years that we see these attacks in the environment active. We have a beachhead in exfiltrating command and controls and sensitive data before they're ever identified. And in many cases, when they are identified, they're often not identified by the organization, but rather by third parties or even almost accidentally. So if we kind of take that into consideration and we kind of look at the situation, this is how we would summarize it, that as it says at the top, big data security is here. It definitely is. We're going to talk about that. It's about big data that's voluminous, high velocity, and of a very high variety. Prevention by itself no longer really scales. We need those preventative controls and those technologies. So we're not talking about obviating them or replacing preventative technologies. We're simply saying that they no longer are really scaling. And furthermore, what kept us secure has really stopped working, and perhaps it stopped working a long time ago. That means, again, we need to augment what we have with additional technologies to help us with that so it can work better. And, when we look at breaches we've seen today with the attackers and the resources and motivation that they have, really by the time they've breached you, whether you have what you would consider an A+ security fortress or F- rated security fortress, it's irrelevant. And these attackers can make their way through the most robust security fortress on the earth, and they can do it in pretty quick time. And so that's something we see as well. And definitely context, content, and visibility is absolutely the new imperative in security, so that's really what we're going to focus on. So why do we do what we do? Why are we delivering this kind of new vision and advanced threat protection platform with Solera and Blue Coat? It's because we live in a post-prevention world, to say it simply. And again, I think what we've seen now over the course of the last probably 18 months to 2 years is a definite shift across enterprises, and that is a shift in their posture toward more preparedness as organizations accept the inevitability of breaches and attacks. In many cases, most organizations have already been breached, whether they know it or not, I don't know. If they haven't, they're likely being targeted, and it's likely inevitable that they will be breached. So we need to begin to move beyond prevention to more of a preparedness posture that combines with prevention, so we can begin to see, detect, get context for these threats, and begin to have the ability to have post-breach security once we have been breached to answer these kinds of questions that you see here. So again, moving to a posture of preparedness is about, on one hand, having real-time visibility of threats, attacks, breaches, zero-day malware, unknown malware that's infiltrating and penetrating the network in your environment, as well as post-breach security, so we can do post-forensic analysis, post-breach analysis, root cause analysis, impact analysis, and answer critical questions like these. So both of these are very critical. This slide is really talking about what happens after a breach, and the fact that most organizations unfortunately, are not in a position to answer these critical post-breach questions. So if you're a CISO or a leader of the security team and you have been breached, your executive team, your board, or whoever it is going to ask these questions, and they are really going to need answers to the questions of who did this to us, how did they get in, what was the tactic and technique, did they exploit a vulnerability, and if so, how, which exploit, did they access our data and our systems, and if so, which data, which systems, and did they exfiltrate data, and if so, how much? Was it 1 million records or was it 1,000 records? We need to know the difference between that. And can we be sure this attack is over? These attacks spread laterally, they move, they morph. That's really how they're designed. So it's difficult to be able to answer the question of whether this attack is over. And only until you answer these questions can you really begin to answer the question of whether it can happen again. And have we been able to remediate and resolve that breach so to be sure that that specific attack won't happen again. So those are very critical. And so what we deliver is really advanced threat protection. It's advanced threat protection that's unifying big data security analytics. It's unifying that with threat intelligence and full security visibility. And this is the three-tiered approach that we're really going to talk about today. So how are we delivering the most comprehensive big data security and advanced threat protection solution? This is really what we now have as we combine with Blue Coat again, the franchise, the Web Pulse Collaborative Defense Cloud and everyone attached to it. This is leveraging ultimately the Solera Big Data Security Analytics platform, and that platform is one that you can deploy in a variety of ways, including as a software image that you deploy on leading hardware. You can deploy it as a pre-configured turnkey appliance or as a virtual appliance. But we are now going to leverage that platform and expand it, combine it with threat intelligence and even greater security analytics to deliver what we feel is the most advanced threat protection on the market today. So again, just a slide to kind of step back and look at the Blue Coat Business Assurance Technology platform. This is the whole new platform that Blue Coat recently delivered as their new point of view and their new technology portfolio. And you can see across all of these centers of excellence, we're covering most everything that touches the wire, that touches your network, that empowers your business. Anything from the enforcement side, that's the Secure Web Gateway. We're going to talk about the SSL Visibility Appliance, which is hugely critical when we think in terms of effective advanced threat protection today. All of the things that are preventing and enforcing the policies, the mobility, all of the things that are empowering your mobile environment, trusted applications, performance center, that's all the WAN ops stuff that many people know well. And then you get to Resolution Center, which is going to combine with what you see on the bottom, our Advanced Threat Protection Platform, and the Solera Big Data Security Analytics Platform, with the new Blue Coat Threat Blades. These are what we announced just a couple weeks ago. We're going to talk about those today. These are the extensible software blades that come from and on top of the Advanced Threat Protection Solera platform that are very extensible and flexible, that just drop in and provide very value-added services. We're going to talk about the first three that you see on the left of here, but this is going to be a portfolio that grows as we begin to build it out more and more. But let's talk specifically about the three-tiered approach that we really believe is going to change and is already revolutionizing how we think of advanced threat protection today, given the environment we have. And so as you see, this is a platform and a vision that unifies these three critical areas: security visibility, big data security analytics, and threat intelligence. We feel this is like a three-legged stool where you need these three legs. If one are missing, is missing in that, then it's perhaps not complete enough. So it's a three-legged stool that combines with the integration layer, integrating with your ecosystem and existing critical security tools, most of those preventative, signature-based tools. And so we're going to talk about each three of these. Again, the security visibility, that's the full packet capture. We'll talk about that. That's all the things. The two on the bottom really are the heart and soul of what the Solera Security Analytics platform is delivering, the full packet capture and all the visual insight we derive from capturing that data and doing analytics on that data, and then combining that with threat intelligence. We're going to spend probably more time talking about that today than any other. That's really the Blue Coat threat blades that make that up, and we're going to talk about what those are. But that's really kind of combining whitelisting, blacklisting with malware analysis and sandboxing technology with, you know, real-time kind of public and private threat feeds that we're doing to deliver that solution. But let's take a look at each of these, just a snapshot, so you can get a sense of really what we mean by each three of these. The security visibility is, as I mentioned, kind of the cornerstone of this Solera technology. This is really what we do. We're doing full packet capture, capturing every packet, file, flow, and application that we see. We're indexing that, deriving a lot of metadata attributes of that data all through layers 2 through 7. We're doing a tremendous amount of deep packet inspection on that. We're reconstructing sessions and all of that provides that visibility. Like you said, we're a camera on the network, so it's that visibility of everything going in and out of the network that we're recording. That combines with the ability to scale and perform in very high network environments. We're talking speeds of 10 gig to 100 gig. Doing full packet capture at that level of performance is not trivial. That's a big piece of delivering full security visibility, and of course doing that all in a single pane of glass is very, very critical. Big data security analytics, this is really what we do with the data. Again, as Gartner often talks about big data, they'll say, you know, the point is not the data, the point is what we do with the data, what we can derive from the data. What insight we can deliver, what actionable intelligence we can derive from the data, that's the point. Remember, we're trying to find a needle in a haystack, so we're capturing the data so we can understand the hay. If we can understand the hay, we can then better find the needle that's in the haystack. And this is really what we're doing with the analytics, leveraging heuristical detection, lots of statistical analysis. We're doing inferential reporting, a lot of context-aware analysis as well, leveraging algorithms and all of that to derive really ultimately visual insight to more automatically tell you what you should be looking at, what you should be looking for, and really trying to automatically tell you things that are flying under the radar of all the tools you have deployed already that otherwise you would not be seeing. So that's a huge piece of it. So these two, really you can't do this without big data security analytics and the technology that does full packet capture and all the analytics, and that's hugely critical. If we marry that then with threat intelligence, now you have an advanced threat protection suite, a three-legged stool that really is comprehensive in nature. The threat intelligence, again, I'm going to talk about the blades that we have that are really delivering this. This is like real-time whitelisting, blacklisting, sandbox detonation. It's the ability to do that both on premises or as a cloud-based solution or perhaps a hybrid of the two. Leveraging a lot of data enrichment, definitely leveraging a dynamic cloud. I'm going to talk about the WebSense Collaborative Cloud. That is a huge piece of that. This is what's going to empower those blades and the threat intelligence we have, and the ability to do that with the machine learning architecture such that as we learn things, as we derive the verdicts, whether we know they're good or bad, we will learn that and update our knowledge bases and update our cloud and share that intelligence with everyone attached to it. That's what we mean by the machine learning architecture. So this is the three-tiered approach. As I'll talk about at the end, we've got a brand new book, Advanced Threat Protection for Dummies, that really does a great job in the Dummies franchise outlining this vision. But this is really what we're talking about. But you'll notice the dark blue layer here, the integration layer, that's hugely critical. This is not going to be done alone. This is going to be done in an ecosystem. This is going to be done with a best-of-breed platform that integrates with all the tools you already have in your environment. So as I like to say, doing advanced threat protection well in our threat environment definitely takes a village. We cannot do it alone. We must integrate with the tools you already have in your environment, and by doing that, we're going to enhance those tools. We're going to make them more adaptive, more context-aware, and we're going to provide really this kind of integrated workflow automation and ecosystem that's very critical. So as you see, we believe that we reside at the center of all of these tools, whether it's your next generation firewall or next generation IPS, or your content filtering, secure web gateway, your DLP, or your, say, malware analysis tools, say from someone like FireEye. We are absolutely integrating with all of those. So how do we do what we do? At a high level, like we say, we're the security camera for the network. So think of this technology very much like a camera on the network, similar in the real world to when you go visit your local bank. You'll notice that there's very high security at the bank. There's sophisticated locks and security systems physically at the door and within the premises. You've got an armed guard oftentimes inside the bank, sophisticated locks and safes guarding the assets, but every bank has cameras everywhere and is recording every minute of everything happening, because a bank very much also understands that if something happens, they want to be able to play back the tape and understand what happened. Again, recently here in the States, we had the bombing at the marathon in Boston, which was a tragedy, but that case was solved by the tape that happened to actually capture what happened, and that was really how we understood who did it and how it happened. And this is very similar. So we're a security camera on the network. We're recording and classifying and indexing everything that's going in and out. That means every packet, every file, every flow. We're indexing that data from layers 2 through 7, deriving all the metadata attributes for that. That is providing very real-time, on-the-wire, file-level, packet-level, flow-level visibility of data exfiltration, as well as malware infiltration. It's also providing the analytics that deliver the intelligence, the actionable intelligence, and situational awareness, as well as the ability to do post-incident response and forensics and impact analysis and all of those things. It's machine learning knowledge base, and it's big-time data warehousing. Obviously, this is data you can store and query anytime, at any time, and it's doing that in a way that's flexible and open and easy to deploy and manage. That's really how we do it. So, again, as I mentioned with big data, Neil McDonald, one of the leading analysts at Gartner for big data security, often says, look, big data isn't the point, it's what we can do with it. So that's really what we're doing. We're gathering the data, we're analyzing it, we're forming relationships, we're looking for patterns that appear. And through this constant kind of process of capturing the data, deriving the metadata attributes, deriving context from that, making an inference from that, and then painting a picture, you can perhaps see something that is malicious that you otherwise wouldn't be able to see. So here's our anonymous face. This could also be something that's benign in nature. But either way, this is essentially the point of what we're trying to do. The metadata is critical. That is what's giving you all the context. And so we want to leverage that to learn, to gain insight and gain verdicts on what is bad, what is good, and we will then learn that and move to derive more and more context. So what do you do with this technology? And there's lots of things that you do with it. You're seeing here real-world case studies. I can tell you with the Global 2000 enterprises and all of the agencies and Department of Defenses and government civilian agencies that leverage this technology, these are real-world case studies, and they span anything from kind of real-time situational awareness. You can see things like continuous monitoring. These are even advanced malware detection. These are leveraging the technology to deliver real-time visibility of bad things that are happening, infiltration, exfiltration. So that's a big piece of it, as well as post-breach security. You can see use cases like incident response, data loss monitoring analysis, and policy compliance. These are all real-world use cases that customers are using this technology every day for these use cases. And really, they're helping answer all the questions you see below, whether it's who, when, where, what, how long, what else, is it over, what is the target. This is the only way you are going to get answers to these questions. Again, even a SIM is not going to give you this kind of visibility and answers to these questions. We, in turn, integrate with leading SIMs. And so this is definitely visibility at a much, much deeper level and layer to be able to answer these kinds of questions. But those are use cases that every day are being used. So if we look at the platform, kind of how is it, what makes up the platform, you can see, again, the use cases starting from the top down, all of the threat intelligence. We have a host of, Solera applications, reports, geo-IP reconstruction, a lot of packet analysis that we're leveraging. You can see all the partner integrations, whether that's, McAfee, Palo Alto, FireEye, ArcSight, SourceFire, Splunk. I could go on and on and on with the technologies that we integrate with. We are a leading open best-of-breed platform, and that speaks both for Solera and Blue Coat. And then you see the reputation and threat feeds. I'm going to talk about the threat blades, the WebPulse collaborative cloud, as well as a host of kind of private, other public threat feeds that we will broker into our cloud and leverage those to the fullest. And underneath that, you have the primary security analytics platform. You need to have that. That's our security analytics and all of the sensors that we have that you can either deploy as a turnkey appliance or as software or virtual, but that's essentially how we have that. So let's talk a little bit about the Blue Coat threat blades. This is something we just announced a couple of weeks ago. This is really where we're going to deliver the threat intelligence of the three-tiered approach, as I mentioned. These are kind of all integrated and unified, very flexible and extensible, because these are software blades. You simply turn them on or turn them off, deploy them at the click of a mouse, essentially. So very, very easy to deploy and manage, very cost-effective. The idea is that these blades will serve to deliver key services and applications and functions that provide the threat intelligence and more advanced threat protection. So we've got three primary blades that we announced, and I'm going to talk about what these blades are doing and how they are used together. Three blades: the web threat blade, the file threat blade, and the malware analysis blade. These are the three threat blades we've just announced. So let's talk about each of them, how they are used on top of the Solera Big Data Security Analytics platform to deliver the threat protection we need. So this is the web threat blade. This is essentially leveraging what Blue Coat really does better than anyone in the world. All of the visibility of your web traffic, all of the flows we see. This is essentially protecting against the web-based threats, email-based threats, advanced persistent threat, command and control callbacks, spear phishing, botnets, and more. Everything you think of with IP and URL reputation, that's really what this blade is delivering to you. It's absolutely leveraging the WebPulse, the Blue Coat WebPulse collaborative cloud, and the WebPulse and Blue Coat technology for IP and URL. So as we see flows on Solera, we're doing kind of constant lookups on the knowledge base of Solera and WebPulse, and we're delivering kind of that categorization and that additional level of intelligence to determine the IP and the URL categorization, its reputation. So that's essentially the first blade, right, that we're using. This is kind of how this process is going to flow. Think of it kind of as a funnel. It's going to first go through the web threat blade, where let's get the low-hanging fruit. Let's see if we can derive a verdict on the IP and URL. Next, if we have content, if we have binary, actual content, we will move to the next blade. This is the file threat blade. This is protecting against known viruses, malware embedded within just about any file type, and attacks that are missed by traditional defenses that are coming through. This is the reason we're able to deliver this blade so effectively is because of this some of the inherent capabilities within the Solera platform. So Solera, as we're capturing full packets, all the flows, we have the ability to extract files in real time and reconstruct them. Once we reconstruct those files, we can then look for we can look for elements and sources of those files. Is the file coming from an unknown or untrusted source? Does the file represent a known vector, perhaps, of attack, like, a flash file, an exe, kind of, no PDF, known kind of attack vectors? Then we have the ability to compute the hash of that file. So we can compute an MD, a SHA, fuzzy hash, and then we'll take that hash and check it in our cloud or in our knowledge base and see if we can, again, get a verdict of that file, whether it's known bad or known good. And that's essentially what we'll do with this file threat blade. Again, every time we learn something new, a verdict, if we learn a new file that we have identified as a newly known bad file, or maybe one that's now known good that was suspicious or unknown in the past, we will then learn that. This is a machine learning architecture. We're going to immediately update WebPulse, update our local knowledge base, so that we don't have to learn this again. We will continue to update the knowledge bases with what we learn. Now, if we go through the web and file threat blade and we still don't have a verdict, we will then move to the next blade. This is the malware analysis blade. This is our Solera sandbox technology. So this is really now going to do analysis on things that kind of fell through both of the decision process until here, which is the web and the file threat blades. Now let's submit this if we are still unsure or we think it might be suspected as malicious. Let's submit it to the malware analysis blade for detonation in our sandbox. So this is an integrated sandbox malware detonation. This is leveraging kind of a hybrid sandbox. It's leveraging both a virtual sandbox as well as a sandbox emulator that can emulate kind of a bare metal environment. As you know, a lot of today's malware has evolved to the point where if it senses it's in a virtual environment, it will not detonate. It will just sit kind of benignly and innocently without detonating. So we'll leverage the hybrid mailbox. If it doesn't respond in the virtual, we will move it to the emulator sandbox. So that's essentially what we're doing. Looking again for zero-day and advanced targeted attacks, unknown malware, malicious files. You know the drill. This is kind of state-of-the-art industry, best-of-breed sandbox technology. And this is going to be offered for deployment both locally, on premises, or in the cloud. So we're going to provide kind of the freedom to choose on that. We're also offering all three of these blades as a suite because of the way these blades are working together in parallel, kind of as this decision process, this kind of dynamic process. We're finding that most customers and prospects will want to deploy this as a suite, and so we're offering a suite that you can purchase with all three of those blades together. So again, this will kind of show you how this is working. Again, it's this process like a funnel. We're going to bring it through the web threat blade and inspect all the web traffic, identify malicious communications, do IP URL reputation. Then, if not, we're going to move it down to the file threat blade, identify known and good bad files and the binary that's attached to that, leveraging the hash for reputation. And then, if no clear verdict from the first two, we'll move it to the malware analysis blade, where we'll detonate it in a controlled environment in the sandbox. So that's kind of how this is working. What this is showing, and I know there's a lot here and it's a lot to look at, but I just want to kind of quick show you this as kind of the process we have. If you think in terms of this dynamic, circular machine learning process, you're going to deploy a host of solutions you're seeing in the enterprise. You may have Proxy SG, which is, we're going to integrate with that. The SSL visibility appliance, this is the technology that Blue Coat acquired from Netronome, hugely important, as well over 50% in many cases of your traffic is HTTPS or encrypted, and that is a clear vector of attack today. That is critical to being able to decrypt and see and inspect the encrypted traffic. So you see that deployed, as well as Solera and the threat blades deployed. You see malware infiltration coming in, exfiltration coming out. What we're going to do is have this process you see in the middle here, where we have this circular dynamic process where we're going to start with everything we know in the knowledge base that we've learned, that we know is bad or good, and of the bad, let's block it in real time. Then let's move down to what we don't block, what we are missing. We're going to derive all the metadata attributes by leveraging full packet capture. We're going to detect and see tactics, techniques, and procedures that attackers are using. We're going to detect indicators of compromise with the relationship mapping that we're doing and everything we're doing there. Then we will begin to do analytics on that data and enrich it and apply our threat intelligence. So this is where we do dynamic analysis. We apply our threat profiling, all of our analytics and the machine learning, leveraging heuristical and statistical discovery. This is where we're going to now really detect novel threats, unknown malware, zero-day attacks, and we will learn those. As we learn that, what we're showing here is that everything we learn is pushed back up to the WebPulse Collaborative Defense Cloud. You see that WebPulse cloud here, the network effect. There are 75 million users connected to that. We're seeing 1 billion net new requests a day. We've got over 15,000 customers connected with that cloud. We have the ability now, with what we learned, to collectively and rapidly inoculate everyone attached to that cloud. So this is all about sharing the intelligence we learn. It's not about keeping it and not sharing it. It's really leveraging the power of that to inoculate anyone attached to it with the collective intelligence we have. So that's really how that's working. What are we deploying? Just so you can see kind of how this is deployed in your environment. But what are we deploying? It's things like the SSL Visibility Appliance, the Blue Coat Proxy SG, and the Solera Big Data Security Analytics Platform, which the threat blades connect to. These are solutions that, when deployed, are going to provide really comprehensive and really unbeatable advanced threat protection. How you build it, this is modular. It's designed to allow you the freedom to pick how you deploy Solera. So you pick the Solera, either the software, the appliance, or the virtual appliance. You select the storage you need, you select the blades you need, and that's really how this is going to work. Because it extends from the Solera platform, again, these are software blades that extend from the Solera platform. You can get this threat intelligence and derive this value with no additional hardware, no rack space, no more maintenance. So from that perspective, it really is providing a lot of flexibility to you. And then you just simply build your solution. You can pick the blades one by one. You can deploy one of them, two of them, three of them. You can get the suite. You can mix and match as you want to kind of build your platform. So as we kind of wrap this up, there's a methodology I like to call the crime methodology, and this is really what it stands for. You can see this featured in the Dummies book as well, as there's a chapter devoted to this. It's really the premise that post-breach security needs this process. If you have this deployed, you will then be able to derive the context you need to understand what happened, to answer questions of how, what, why. That's going to be able to have you identify the root cause of what happened. That's the R in the crime. Once you know the context and the root cause, you will then and only then be able to truly determine material impact of that breach. Once you know the impact, you can then begin to truly mitigate that and move to eradicate that threat from your environment and completely resolve it with this circular process. All of this is really, the objective of this is to deliver faster time to action, faster time to act and react and respond to threats that are happening either in real time or have already happened. All of this also is going to deliver greater ability to reduce and minimize and eliminate the impact you have. So with that, we'll close out. We've got 2 Dummies books that are very informative. Please go get them if you don't have them already. The newest book is Advanced Protection, Threat Protection for Dummies. The first one is Big Data Security for Dummies. Both are very informative, so please go do that. But with that, I'm going to move over to Ajay and make him the presenter here. And Ajay is going to take you through a live demo of the Solera Security Analytics Platform. So over to you, Ajay.
Thank you, John. I'm going to quickly, at a high level, demonstrate some of the 3 legs that John was talking about. So before I do that, what you see on your screen is a Solera Security Analytics Platform. dashboard. It's truly a single pane of glass, if you will. We not only see all the security, visibility, threat intelligence, and the analytics, but also you can configure various things, including authentication, system security, role-based administration, and various other things, all at one place. That's what I mean by single pane of glass. So starting with the amount of security visibility that you can see using Solara Security Analytics platform. As you can see here in the summary page, you can see different applications. Not only the applications, but you can see the different conversations. You can see file names, IP address, initiators, file names as well. So truly, it's kind of like from packets to flows to conversations to files to applications. So it's all the way from layer 2 to layer 7 kind of visibility. We also have a built-in packet analyzer similar to typically what you would use for a Wireshark or a Sniffer 4. And this packet analyzer, again, is kind of built in within the Solara dashboard. So it's taking some time, but anyway, so that's the one level of visibility that you can see. And when we talk about packets, from packets we extract data, as John was talking about, and context. And we put all that context into different metadata containers, and it's organized, as you can see here, applications, database, emails, encrypted SSL traffic, files, geographical location, layer 4 information, and various other details. So I'm just going to go through one of them, applications. So within applications, for example, we can give you a lot of detail, not only at layer 4 to like HTTP level, but within HTTP, what kind of traffic that is. The Solara Security Analytics platform has the ability to detect and classify more than 1,200 applications. And in the similar way, we also have the ability to classify and show files, hundreds of files, and also basically all the file transport protocols, right? So that's the level of visibility we are talking about. And another feature when we talk about security visibility is geolocation, where you can see communications that are taking place within your organization geographically. So for example, if you spot a country which is kind of banned to communicate within your enterprise, you can simply go there, look at the IP address, and start blocking the traffic to that particular country, right? So it's as easy as that. And as part of the security visibility, how we do it is a continuous capture or continuous monitoring, if you will. This is the underlying technology where we get what we say security camera for your network. I'm using a simple virtual machine. That's one of the form factor virtual appliance. I'm only showing one interface, but you can have a high-end appliance with many tens of interfaces and all of them capturing traffic. As simple as start and stop capturing traffic, and we do capture traffic non-stop at multi-gigabits per second without any loss of packets. And using those packets, we do data, we collect metadata, and reconstruct files and applications. So at a high level, that's kind of the security visibility, if you will. And going forward, John talked about threat intelligence. So I forgot to mention you can have different views, like you can have specific views, social engineering views, web view, IP layer view, or let's have threat intelligence view where we kind of show the information provided by different blades, for example, web threat blade, file threat blade, and things like that. A lot of the process is behind, which is automated machine learning, and what we see here is simply gives you the risk level, and you can go in and find out different risk levels within each one of those. And within the the web threat blade has the ability to categorize websites, and we have the ability to categorize 100 different URLs and 100 different websites. So if you want to see what kind of activity is taking place within your organization as far as the different websites that users are visiting, you can quickly take a look at that. Similarly, file threat, we have a database of known threats, as John was talking about the circular diagram, and we automatically identify different files, the risk level attached to each one of those files, and you can simply take a look at those. And as part of the advanced threat detection, Solara platform, advanced threat protection platform has what we call favorites. There are different favorites that are defined here. You can also define your own favorite if you like. And these favorites are used to define security policies, security rules. So as you can see here, there are various favorites, including some of the threat blades that we talked about. Like, we have the ability to extract files in real time, so we can extract various files in real time and associate some kind of disposition to those files to see if they're malicious or not. And similarly, we can also, as I was talking before, you can also look at non-standard communications for various different protocols, pretty much all protocols, and see if a particular protocol traffic is non-standard and take appropriate action on that, right? So as I mentioned, using those favorites, you can define actions, and some of the actions are already defined here. For example, if you're seeing malware-related passwords, or if you're seeing traffic characteristics associated with botnets, send an alert. As I was saying before, you can also define new favorite. Let's quickly define a favorite around executables. It could be executable over HTTP. So I want to define a favorite, and I want to get an alert. Whenever I see an executable on HTTP protocol, send me an alert and assign the alert to be critical. So that's kind of a simple way to show how to define, an action and an alert around a specific threat, right? Apart from the blades that we talked about, we believe in best-of-breed approach. So we have various partners that we integrate with, Bit9, FireEye, LastLine, VirusTotal. So we have the ability to integrate with all of them. Apart from those, we have many community, threat providers or reputation providers that we integrate with, and some of them are listed here. It's as simple as turning them on and off here if you have the license to do so, and you can use them to get real-time threat intelligence. Just want to quickly talk about creating reports. This is a common feature that our customers want to use. You can create report on a particular alert, choose a format, have the report sent to you on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis, right? And you can have that report around any one of those metadata containers I was talking about, or within any file thread blade or web thread blade specific characteristics. Let's say you can define that you need a report to be sent to you on file thread blade verdicts pretty much on a daily basis. Right? That's kind of a cool feature that we have around threat intelligence. I do want to talk about one of the features that our customers constantly use. Since we have such a cool dashboard, as I was showing you before, customers constantly use us even to import PCAPs from other devices, right? And they can simply load those PCAPs into our dashboard and take a look at what's there in that PCAP. So as it loads, you can see in a matter of seconds, you can view all the applications that are within that PCAP, including associated threat vectors to that PCAP, conversations, file names, and various other things. So let's try to go into what I call the extraction tab, probably one of the most powerful tab. Now moving on to security analytics that we can talk about. So within this PCAP, we are displaying all the events in a chronological order, right? You can see that particular user went to Google, did some search on a particular website called Street and Youth Shelters, and visited that particular website here in a chronological way if you look at the events by timestamp. And then after that, we are seeing a bunch of PHP script that got executed. So definitely there is something suspicious here, so you can expand that. You can also take a preview because we do complete full session reconstruction as part of our security analytics, and you can preview that within the Solara dashboard. What is presented here is a blank page because that's what the user got presented with. But you can also go to the back end, excuse me, and take a look at exactly what has happened. The user got redirected to a different website, which is obviously malicious nlito.ru, and then we saw a lot of PHP script that got executed in the back end. So this is kind of the before, during, and after an attack. You can do a lot of investigation around this. This is kind of the magnifying glass. Once you basically have the whole haystack, and within the haystack you're kind of trying to pinpoint specific things, and you can use this kind of magnifying glass. For example, you can define a file type. let's look at all the executables associated to this PCAP. There are 4 executables. We can be rest assured that all these executables are probably malicious malware. You can see this particular executable presented itself as an octet stream, but it's actually a DOS executable, right? We can also do root cause explorer on that to exactly determine the source, destination, IP address, so on and so forth. So that's kind of the cool and powerful extraction tab that you can, as part of our security analytics solution. So I just want to point out various other things that we have within the extractions. We can reconstruct files, as we mentioned before. Here we are showing a Word document that's fully reconstructed. You can open that, and this could be part of the sensitive data loss monitoring or data loss incident analysis. You can see that Visa card, MasterCard numbers are being exported out of the organization. That's kind of a quick example of Word document reconstruction. We can fully reconstruct emails. You can expand that again, preview that email. We also have the ability to reconstruct emails with attachments that are attached to a particular email, right? This is kind of a cool feature, particularly a lot of the non-technical security policy stakeholders use this feature, if you will. So you can quickly see all the images that are traversing through your network. And if you see any particular inappropriate image, you can click on that, expand it, identify the IP address, who's the source, and put that IP address and get all the details around that IP address, right? So it's very kind of easy analysis of inappropriate use or organizational acceptable policy use kind of investigation. People use that. We also reconstruct audio files. That's kind of listed over here. And so this is a kind of a cool example. This is a PCAP of Facebook activity for a whole day. We have the ability to do that. And if you want to study the behavior in your organization, you can collect just the Facebook activity, look at who's using what kind of files are being exported within the Facebook. Again, this is a magnifying glass within your network. Again, you can do and, or within this filtering capability. Let me move forward here. And lastly, I just want to show one more example of malware analysis detection. Here, we are seeing that a lot of executables have been detected within this PCAP, and again, I'm showing that it's an octet stream, but it's a DOS executable. Again, you can use the root cause explorer or the reputation service providers to determine what type of malware it exactly is. Since we are almost running out of time, I just want to point out a few other quick things. We also integrate with various, the integration layer that John was talking about, we integrate with various different industry-leading security vendors. Example here is the SourceFire Defense Center. This is a leading IPS system, and with every event that SourceFire provides, this is one event that I'm showing, you have the ability to go into Solera Deep Sea platform and kind of do the investigation around, as I was showing before, go into the extractions tab and look at what is happening before and during and after an event. And similarly, we also integrate with FireEye. Let me quickly log in here. And the integration with FireEye is kind of different. We actually send, since we have the real-time file extraction capability, we send files to FireEye if you choose to use FireEye as your sandboxing technology. As I was mentioning before, we are best-of-breed kind of company, so this is one of the options that you have to use for sandboxing technology. On that note, I'm going to pass it back to John to take any questions that you may have.
Excellent. Thanks, Ajay. So we have a couple minutes. Let's take a couple of questions. We've got a few we'll try to get through here, and please feel free to submit any others. If we don't get to them, we'll just reply to you offline. A couple of things just on kind of what you saw here. Actually, in fact, on the screen you see here now, we've had a couple of people, Ajay, talking about, they're seeing, the moderate to low to high to very high risk. And the question is, do you have the ability to dive in and see all those? Of course. So that's where you can click, you can dive in, do analytics on those threats, do all the things Ajay was just showing you as far as check the reputation, look at, what comes from the hash, look at the metadata attributes around it. So you have the ability absolutely to dive in and look at everything we've seen that's coming in as kind of high risk in your environment, obviously. So that's one thing. Some questions on performance and accuracy, scalability. One of the things I'll mention is we have, unlike anyone else in this industry, we have done pretty extensive third-party testing. We have a full test report from ESG Labs. ESG Labs is a very credible third-party test. They're also an analyst organization, and they tested us across all the use cases I showed you to validate our performance, our packet capture, the number of applications we say we see, the number of protocols, the scalability, accuracy, everything. So definitely look at that. That's a great kind of external third-party validation of that. A couple questions on the malware. I think Ajay probably clarified some of those just by showing you the integration with, say, FireEye. Our approach to malware is very open. So we have the malware analysis blade. That's sandboxing technology that is essentially leading, sandbox technology, very similar to what you would get if you look at someone like FireEye or LastLine or ThreatGrid or McAfee and a host of others. Pretty much a lot of security companies now offer some type of sandboxing. But our approach is to broker, as Ajay said, we integrate with FireEye and other leading sandboxes. So we broker those sandboxes. We actually believe that this technology, as sandboxing becomes more and more prominent, it's almost becoming to be a commodity now, that we feel two is better than one, three is better than two. So, like a doctor, two verdicts is better than one. So our approach is to, you can use our blade, you can use our blade plus FireEye, you can use our blade plus FireEye plus someone else, and we will actually broker those connections and forward files to any and all of those as you see fit, and receive the verdict back, incorporate that into our knowledge base, and so on. So that's kind of our approach with malware as well. Let me see other questions on integration, and that's again just we showed you we integrate with. We've got a universal connector that can integrate with just about every, and already does integrate with most leading platforms. So I think that's most of the questions. We're pretty much out of time. I've kept everyone a couple minutes, but very much appreciate your time, and thank you for joining us. Stay tuned for more of these webcasts and more opportunity to learn more about this platform and everything we're delivering here. We are also about to kick off a road show called the Advanced Threat Protection Tour that we're bringing out to all of you locally, and so look for that tour as we kick that off in September and probably take that worldwide. That's a chance for you to come and hear more about this. Anytime if you're interested in a personal one-on-one kind of demonstration of this, we're always happy to do that, so please feel free to reach out. We're always happy to talk with you, but until then, all the best. Thanks for joining. We'll see you on a future webcast.